waking me up. That always makes me feel alive in some type of way. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I hope everybody else is appreciating it. Again, we have an excellent speaker today for everybody that's here. You know, it's about 89 days until the Paralympics, which is going to be incredible. And Lex Gillette is going to be going to Tokyo and training, or not training, he's going to be in the Olympics. And he's going to be, bringing all of us together and representing America for us. Lex Gillette is recognized as a Paralympic track and field athlete uh, for the USA, and he holds the world record for the long jump. He was robbed of his eyesight during childhood, but with the help of his mother, he was determined to not fall victim and be consumed by darkness. His athletic talents have had him featured on ESPN, Sports Illustrated, US Today, uh, People Magazine, and he was inducted into the ADH Hall of Fame. I was introduced to Lex through a job training meeting. And so he blessed me with the opportunity to learn how he actually races, how he runs, which is something that you don't necessarily think about. He's doing something incredible. And if you ever get the chance, which you want to be careful, try to run a 100 blind. And I promise you, you won't be able to run straight. He uses incredible techniques. He has incredible talents, and he has an incredible perspective. You know, you can give your claps with the emojis. You can give your claps with your hands, even if you want to go off mute or something and clap. But, please, give your appreciation and your attention and a round of applause for our speaker today, Lex Gillette.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramel. I feel like I have to do a really good job now because he was making me sound like a rock star. I really appreciate that and appreciate each of you. Creative Mornings, San Diego. I'm here in San Diego myself and have been in San Diego for the past 13 years now, which has been a really amazing time being here. I graduated from college and moved to San Diego. So it's been really, really amazing to be here on the West Coast. But I'm originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. And as a kid in Raleigh, I was doing everything that your average 8-year-old kid would be doing. I was riding my bicycle, I was playing outside, and I was playing video games. There was one particular day that I had come home from school. I did my homework. My mom wouldn't let me go outside unless I did my homework first. Got my homework done, played outside with friends. That evening, as I was sitting down with my mom at the dinner table, I couldn't help to notice all of the images and scenes within our home. My mom had a picture of the Last Supper hanging inside of the dining room. And I looked at that photo and remember looking at my mom's, her expressions and remember seeing how long her hair was, just really long black hair, and seeing all of her facial expressions and all of her features and characteristics. And she even had this large china cabinet in the corner of our dining room. It was a perfect location because the front door would stay open and the sun would shine through the door, and those rays would bounce off of that china cabinet. So you could see the sparkling nature of the cups and glasses and plates that she had inside of this china cabinet. And I looked at all of those things, not realizing that this might be one of the last times I ever have the ability to see those things. My mom and I, we finished dinner. I go to the bathroom to get cleaned up for bed. As I'm inside of the bathtub, I started to notice that something was different. I look down at my hands and they're starting to look blurred. I look up to the ceiling at the lights, the light fixtures, and then that's now looking faint. I get out of the tub and hop onto the bathroom counter. And that's when I knew something was wrong immediately. Because when you go into the bathroom and you look into the mirror, you're supposed to see a clear, crisp image of yourself, and you're able to, to really analyze your features and characteristics, and you see your eyebrows and your cheeks and your lips and your nose. For me, it was like I was seeing a disfigured image of myself. And think about those times where you go outside and it's really sunny. You go back indoors and it takes a few minutes for your eyes to adjust. And for me, it was almost like my eyes really couldn't adjust. I told my mom, and she had thought maybe I had gotten something in my eyes from playing outside earlier in the day. So we took some water, we cleaned my eyes out. It made it feel better, but it didn't clear my sight any. The next thought was to go to sleep, wake up, and hopefully everything would be okay the next day. Now I'm 8 years old. I'm laying in that bed, literally thinking to myself, everything was okay earlier this morning, earlier in the afternoon. I played outside with my friends. I was able to, to read and write. I was able to see my mom, and I was able to see everything. And in the matter of moments, it seemed like things started to take a different turn. When I wake up, will I be able to see normally again? Are my eyes going to look different? Are people going to, my friends going to look at me the same when I wake up? Will I be blind? That next morning, it arrived. My heart had dropped because nothing had changed. Everything was still faint and blurred and disfigured. But I did think that I would be good enough for school that day. So got my backpack, I got dressed. Mind you, I wasn't totally lacking sight. Things just looked very distant and disfigured and blurred. So I thought I would have what it would take to get through the day. But halfway through the school day, teachers had to call my mom and they said, hey, we need you to come get Lex because he's not acting himself. He's bumping into things. He's saying that something is wrong with his eyesight. My mom, she comes to school, she picks me up, takes me to the doctor, and after an examination, they said that I needed to have an emergency operation because I was suffering from retina detachments. Now, you hear about retina detachments from let's say a combat sport, MMA fighters, boxers, they punching each other, and there's some sort of force that would create that type of issue. Or as we get older and things start to deteriorate from a health standpoint, you might experience retina detachments. But for me at 8 years old, there wasn't one thing that I could point to and say, oh, this is what caused this issue. Yeah, I was outside doing flips and cartwheels and things of that nature, but no one thing that we could put our finger on to say, oh, that was what caused it. We had that first operation. I could see well for 3 to 4 weeks after that. Everything was clear. I didn't have any issues really. But after that time frame, the same issue reoccurred. My sight began to get blurry again. And this time it was a little more than what it was the time previously. So we go back to the doctor and have a second examination. And the doctor said that, hey, we need to have a second operation because his retinas have detached a second time. Again, no reason as to why it happened at that second operation. And it seemed like it was successful. I could see well for another 3 to 4 weeks. And after that time, sight began to get blurred again. That time a lot more than what it was the time before. We go back to the doctor a third time. A third examination reveals that I had retina detachments for a third time, which led to a third operation. I could see well for another 3 to 4 weeks. That was the pattern for the entire time that I was 8 years old. And in that 1 year alone, I had 10 operations to try to fix the issue. And they were all unsuccessful. After the 10th one, the doctor said that there was nothing else they could do to help my sight. And they said that I would probably end up becoming blind. You hear that at 8 years old, and it's the first thing I think that went through my mind was, all right, am I going to be able to play my video games? Am I going to be able to play Madden still? Mortal Kombat, Super Mario Brothers? Am I going to be able to ride my bicycle and play outside with friends? And after the doctor gave news, it was go home, go through your normal routine, go to sleep at night, eventually wake up the next morning, and you see a little less than what you do the day before until one day you wake up, you can't see anything at all. And that's when reality, it hits you in the chest, because now you can't see to play your video games. You can't see to ride your bicycle or play outside with friends or read and write. You can watch television. Sitting at dinner and not being able to see your loved ones, not being able to see the neighborhood that you love to run around in. That was a really challenging time for me. Unfortunately, my mom, she's really amazing, and she has been a great positive influence in my life. And she told me that, hey, I understand the situation, but we're going to figure out a way to get you to believe in yourself again and help you to see your potential. My mom, she gave me that time that I needed to really to grieve and overcome and go through all of the emotions that I was feeling at that time. Because you imagine losing your sight and you're thrust into this world of uncertainty. You're thrust into this space of being fearful and frightened, maybe even feeling alone, holding your head down, not really having too much confidence. I had to work through all of those things. But the biggest thing of all, the biggest aspect was that my mom, she just wanted me to be self-sufficient and independent and be able to survive on my own. This was long before any type of sports came along. And so from there, it was her exposing me to as many resources and programs and tools and technology as possible, just so I could see what was possible, what I could go into the world and do. Learning about computers with speech software installed on them so that the computer reads emails and it reads the internet, it reads the word processor and the spreadsheets, so that I'm able to complete schoolwork and any other task. even her teaching me how to take out the trash, wash the dishes, clean my room, like all of those things. Nobody wants to do that at 12, 13 years old. Like that's boring. That's not cool. But when I look at it right now, being in California, although I have a lot of friends, I don't have any family members out here. Looking back on those times now, it's like, oh man, that was the best thing for me, because I'm able to be self-sufficient and to not have to depend on everyone. But I would say even beyond that, the thing that really helped me the most was that my mom, she challenged me to explore and to discover and to learn my neighborhood in a different way. So you think about losing your sight and now you're having to tap into your other senses. That was essentially what I had to do. Learning my neighborhood in a different way, learning how the ground felt under my feet, learning how many strides it would take for me to get from point A to point B, learning how the different, the energy and the feeling of my surroundings and being able to use those things to my benefit. For example, I still had to go to school, right? Had to get my education. I continued to stay in public school. My mom would make sure I got on the bus every morning. And eventually, once I got a little older and was really comfortable, now I am navigating off of the bus by myself. All right, boom, get off of the bus. It drops me off in the same location all of the time. I know that when I step off of that last stair of the bus, I'm going to be on the sidewalk. Boom, when I hit the sidewalk, I'm gonna make a left-hand turn and I'm gonna take 4 steps forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. I'm going to feel the grass under my feet because that is the end of the sidewalk. But that lets me know that I can turn to the right-hand side, take 1 step, boom, and then I actually have 3 stairs in front of me. 1, 2, 3. I get to the top of those. I'm gonna hit that left-hand turn, 4, 5 steps forward. And once I get to that 4th step, I begin to stick my right hand out. And as I move forward, my hand hits the banister, the handrail. And that lets me know that I'm at home. I'm at home. Now I have 4 steps up to get to the front door and I can walk in. So my mom really challenged me to learn layouts and to learn spaces in a different way. And beyond that, she challenged me to explore past the status quo, to explore past those patterns and those routines, and that layout that I was so used to walking. All right, Lex, sure, you know how to get to the front door. But what happens if you, let's just say you don't walk up the stairs that leads up to our front door. You take 1 step past that stairwell, and then 2 steps, and then 5 steps. What's beyond that? I eventually learned that it was a laundry facility, the one that we used to go to. 5 steps past that, 10 steps. What else is out here? So what are we doing? What are each of you doing to stay in this inquisitive problem solver state, being an inquisitive problem solver, not accepting the regular, the normal patterns, complacency? Sure, it helps us to maneuver forward to a certain extent. But what's beyond that? Because what's beyond that is more. It helps us to break those limitations or boundaries that we might create or put inside of our mind. And the more that we can explore beyond those areas, we're able to break those boundaries and build for a stronger future. I started learning everything about that neighborhood. I knew how to get from the school bus stop to my front door. I knew how to get to the laundry facility. I had to learn how to get to the dumpster so I could take the trash out, right? I learned where our treehouse was in the backyard. And it eventually got to the point where when I would go outside and play with my friends, I was running around so smoothly and so seamless that they were confused as to what I could and could not see. It's like, is this kid really blind? Previously, I believed that like blindness was restricting, and it was holding me back. But having that courage to continue to explore and to discover and to be inquisitive, to be curious, to ask questions, not only of others and other things, but to ask questions of yourself also. Continuing to work to figure out a solution to the problem and not giving up. Those are the types of things, that type of attitude is what helps us to break those boundaries and to make us feel as though we're not restricted and we are more free. I'm continuing to go through school and continuing to grow up. I learned how to read Braille, so that's how I was able to get through school. I learned how to use a cane so I can navigate on my own, slide it from left to right, be able to identify when stairwells are approaching, when open or closed doors are nearby, lets you know when to step on and off a curb. And that was helping my confidence tremendously. Now I'm starting to, I'm walking around, I'm in middle school with my friends and stuff like that. I'm cool now. I was introduced to a teacher. He was a teacher of the visually impaired, which basically means that he was responsible for making sure that my academic experience was one where I had all of the accommodations that I would need in order to have a phenomenal academic career. So he made sure that I had all of my books in Braille. He made sure that I had that computer with the speech software installed on it so I could do all of my classwork. I had a Braille machine. I had a number of different devices that helped me to achieve my academic goals. And again, I was in public school. So, I stayed in public school. So I needed to have all of the equipment and necessary resources so that I could remain in the public school setting. And he was also responsible for going to physical education class, PE class. Excuse me. By this point, I was in high school, 9th grade freshman. You know how that is. You're trying to figure it out and you're growing and you're making new friends and it's just a totally new experience. And then you throw on top of that being blind. It's a whirlwind at times, especially from a social standpoint, trying to make friends, having the courage to have those conversations, to even say, hey, what's going on? It's a totally different world because for others who probably can see, who might be able to see, they don't truly 100% understand the experience, which that was totally fine. We all come from different experiences and different backgrounds, etc. But at that age, you're so young, gaining the courage to really talk about those things and again, to make friends and just to be, feel comfortable and feel like you belong, it takes a little bit of work. We're in PE class where Mr. Whitmer, my teacher of the visually impaired, is making sure that I'm involved in all of the activities. In that time, it was very easy for a teacher to say, oh man, I got this blind kid in my class. I don't really know what to do. How about you just sit this one out? You can sit off to the side. I don't want you to get hurt. We're shooting baskets today. We're going to be playing dodgeball today. We're going to be jumping rope. Or you can go to study hall. You can get a head start on your homework, your classwork. You won't have to worry about those things when you get home. But Mr. Whitmer was the one who challenged that thinking. He was like, no, let's figure out a way to make this happen. Let's figure out a way to make these activities inclusive and accessible so that Lex can be a part of the group as well. One of my things that we used to do was shoot baskets. So Mr. Whitmer, he would hand me the basketball. So now I got the ball. He takes my cane, opens it up so it's fully, it's straight, it's fully ready to go. and he would hold it in the air and he would tap the rim. So now I could hear where to shoot the ball. I got the ball in my hand, shoot. And I know you know what that sound is. That's nothing but net. It was those types of things that he did to really change the environment, the classroom setting. Those types of things are what helped to change my mindset and a lot of people's mindsets. Other things that he did, when we would play putt golf at school, he would take his keys and he would jingle the keys above the hole. So now I would be able to, I had an idea of where to position myself and where I needed to putt. When we would play dodgeball, actually, no, I'm not gonna tell you that because I'm not the best dodgeball player. But if you put me on the end, I guarantee you I'll catch some people in that wave who are involved in the game. I could jump rope really good, but I say all of that to say he really changed that environment. And now teachers didn't have an excuse and they couldn't say, oh man, Lex, why don't you sit this one out? Or why don't you go to study hall? Now it was, all right, Lex, we know what you're capable of. This is what we expect from you. Then it was my friends when I would show up to gym class. Oh, Lex, come over here. Like, you can play with us. You can play with us. We don't need to hang out with the teachers. That's not cool. We know how to help you. We saw how he did it. So they really made me feel like I was a part of the group. And Mr. Whitmer totally changed and transformed the thinking that we all had within that classroom. But we had this physical fitness test one day, a test where you had to do pull-ups, you had to do sit-ups and push-ups. And one of the activities was standing long jump. So you stand in one spot, you put your arms, knees bent, and you jump forward as far as humanly possible. It's my turn. Mr. Whitmer, he helps me navigate to the start line. Got to make sure your toes are right against that line, flush against the start mark. And from there, he's like, all right, come on, Lex, let's go. I put my arms back, knees bent, and I jump as far as I could go. Mind you, I'm in public school now. I am one of maybe a handful of kids who are blind. Everyone else can see. We have about 1,500 kids in our school, And I remember when my feet hit the ground, everybody they're going crazy. They're going bonkers, like, oh my gosh, like, did you just see what he just did? He jumped 10 feet from a standstill and he's blind. Y'all, he's blind. He can't see anything. He's blind. He's blind. He's blind. Mr. Whitmer, he runs over, he's laughing hysterically. He's like, Lex, do you realize what just happened? You jumped 10 feet from a standstill. They measured it. It was 10 feet. Have you ever heard of the Paralympics? No, I haven't. It is the highest pinnacle of competition for athletes who have a physical disability. You could represent Team USA. You could travel the world and you could break records. You can win medals. Now I'm thinking that, all right, he told me that this is a competition specifically for people who have a disability. I'm blind. Everyone else is blind. I just finished competing against people in my school and they can see, and I obliterated a lot of them. So when I get over here to this new space where there's a lot of people who are like me, I should be able to crush them. I should be able to just blow them out of the water. And Mr. Whitmer he's saying, well, in the Paralympics, you don't stand and jump. You gotta run first and jump. I was like, wait, what? Run and jump? He said, yeah, you gotta run first and then jump. no way that's happening. No way that's happening. He was like, oh, come on, just come down to the track with me. I'm gonna show you around and let's just take it from there. I said, all right, we can check it out and see what's happening. So we go down to the track one day and he shows me everything about the long jump. You know that you have a runway that you have to run down. He shows me how wide that runway is. He shows me how long the runway is. There's a takeoff board that's in the ground. That's where you jump from. He shows me that. He shows me the actual sand pit, how wide the pit is, how long the long jump pit is. And I always feel like it was a blessing that I was able to see at one point, because when I engage with an environment in that way, I'm able to feel the texture under my feet. I'm able to use my cane to slide it across the surface and figure out what that surface is, or even touching those things with my hands. It is giving me that opportunity to really see what's going on, to envision what's going on. Mr. Whitmer says, all right, well, since you can't see anything, I'm going to stand at this takeoff board and I'm going to clap and yell, straight, 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 straight. I just want you to run to the sound of my voice, and at the right step, I want you to jump. I said, this guy has really lost it. There's literally no way this is going to happen. Come on, Lex, I just want you to try it out. Just one time. Straight, 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 straight. Follow the sound of my voice, and at the right step, I want you to jump. Matter of fact, I'll position you at this spot on the track, and I just want you to take 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, and jump. Okay. Straight, 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 straight. Come to the sound of my voice. Straight, 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 straight. Sound of my voice. Straight, 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 straight. 1, 2, 3. I didn't jump. Come on. Let's try it again. Straight, 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 straight. Sound of my voice. Straight, 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 straight. 1, 2, 3. I'll take like a baby hop. Lex, listen to me. I'm going to be your eyes. I'm going to make sure that nothing happens to you. There's this flat ground here. It's level, no obstacles, nothing that you can run into. And at that point, I knew he was reading my mind, because I didn't know where I was running. I was afraid that I would run into something. I was afraid that I would twist my ankle or get injured. So many different things that could go wrong. Mr. Whitmer, his thinking was always, sure, but there's a lot of things that can go right. And it's amazing because for me, he served as, he's a guide. And specifically in Paralympic sport, they call them long jump callers. They're also known as guides, people who are assisting you on the track. I want you to think about who have served as in your life. People who have literally given you that permission to believe and that permission to dream and to see more than what you may have previously saw. They help you see more than what you previously thought was impossible. Mr. Whitmer, he believed in me so much that I began to believe in myself. At a time where I was so scared and so, I didn't think that I would be able to participate in anything like that. That was scary. I knew that I had someone there to help me ascend to new heights. So I know that you have people who have acted as guides in your life, but even beyond that, are you a guide? And if you aren't, do you need to be one? I'm gonna go ahead and say the answer to that question is yes. There's a lot of people here in the world who we all go through challenges and we all go through different issues and experience different circumstances. And we need those people who we can connect with, those people who help us to build that strength and to build that armor, if you will, so that we can be resilient and that we can bounce back and we can see beyond what is in front of our eyes. Are you a guide? And if not, do you need to be one? The biggest thing that Mr. Whitmer did for me was we had the type of connection where he made me forget that I was blind. And as a guide, that's the power that you have to give to everyone else. You can help them see beyond their shortcomings or things that they may have believed were shortcomings. You can help them to see that they have what it takes internally to be able to rise up and go above and beyond. That's amazing. Now, I want to share this is one clip because Mr. Whitmer has helped me to to be able to do a lot of different things. And here's one activity where a lot of people, you may step up to this type of barrier and say to yourself, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna try this, but Ramel, can we show the box, see the box jumps video, please? Oh, sorry about that. I had to get off of mute. That was a great comment. Me as a guide, I don't know where we're going, but it's going to be fun. I don't know if Mr. Whitmer, I think that he knew where we were going, but I don't think that he really knew where and how everything would unravel. Like, it's literally been way more than what either one of us could see. That's been wild to experience. But since that time, I came out here to San Diego. I've been training. I've been to the games a couple of times. I've been to World Championships a few times, and I won a few medals. It's been a lot of fun. And of course, right now, I'm currently training for Tokyo. And the Paralympic Games are scheduled to start in August the 24th to be exact. But before we kind of wrap things up, I want to go back a year ago, being down in Chula Vista at the Chula Vista Elite Athlete Training Center, formerly the Olympic Training Center. Excitement was at an all-time high. We're ready to go down to Tokyo and compete. I was scheduled to compete on the first day, bright lights, evening session, Tokyo, Japan. I want to say the stadium seats around 90,000 people. I'm gonna be in front of all of those people. They're coming to watch me jump. It's gonna be a great day. I'm going to win that gold. Literally, the only thing that I haven't done yet was win gold at that particular games. Then we get the news that the games aren't going to happen. There wasn't any information around whether it was going to be postponed or canceled, and that was challenging, to say the least. That was tough. And even beyond that, we started to have positive tests that popped up within our training group. They made us stop training Then we had to quarantine. So I'm literally in a room by myself with no one around, and at certain points for a few weeks, we had to get our food delivered to us. So the one thing that I'm so used to doing, I'm used to going down to that track, and I'm used to hearing the voices and the laughter and being around my teammates and being around I couldn't do those things anymore. If you were to suddenly lose your sight, what would you miss seeing the most? When the pandemic hit, I think that we were blinded to a certain degree. I want you to think about the question in that aspect and think about what you would miss. What do you miss the most? In May and in June of 2020, I just wanted to be around my teammates and my coaches. I just wanted to hear them. I wanted to hear that agony as we do those 200-meter repeats. Yeah, it hurts. But I appreciated that pain, being in that room, not being able to do any of those things. So it got to the point, you know what? I have a slogan. The slogan is no need for sight when you have a vision. No need for sight when you have a vision. It's not the sight that determines our success. It's our ability to see more, our ability to see things before they exist, and to see beyond the horizon, and to not only just see it, but then to develop a plan and to connect with the right people to bring that vision into fruition. So I'm in this room by myself. I'm like, man, I got to figure out something. They eventually give us permission to go outside and train. However, we had to do it alone because of social distancing guidelines. Now, my guide, the person who's standing at that long jump board, my current guide, he claps and yells, fly, 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 fly. That lets me know where I need to run. It takes me 16 strides and a normal approach to get to that takeoff board. That's about 115 feet away. And when I get to that 16th step, I jump and pray to God I'm gonna land in the sand. My longest jump ever is 22 feet 1 inch. But that same guy, my same guy who's clapping and yelling, fly, 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 fly. When we're training, he's running those 200-meter repeats with me. He's running up those hills with me. He's doing all of the drills with me. When we're doing the high knees and the butt kicks, he's right there doing all of those things with me. But since we had to socially distance, we couldn't train together. Trying to figure out a different plan, a different way. I refused to allow that to be a boundary, something that would restrict me. It was about the vision at the end of the day, me going to Tokyo and winning gold. And not only for myself, but for my guide and for my family and for friends and for all of you back here in the States. I started going down to the track early in the morning at like 6:30 because I knew that I would be there by myself. There's a part of the track where the grass and the surface track meets. So I'm standing there now, excuse me. I'm standing there and I can feel that under my feet. That's the starting line. I continue to walk forward with my cane. I'll slide it from left to right, left to right, left to right. Making sure there aren't any starting blocks out here, any hurdles, any of those things. I walk about 30 meters, give or take. I pull my smartphone out of my pocket, have my Bluetooth speaker. I turn on the Pandora station, Kendrick Lamar, and connect my iPhone to the speaker and turn the music up super loud. Now that's my finish line, my end point. So I knew that I had a start and I had a finish, and I had a lot of level open space for me to get back to doing those high knees, to doing those butt kicks, to doing all of the drills that I was doing prior to the pandemic. And even though it wasn't training in the same capacity that I would train with my guide, the one thing that it was ensuring is that I wouldn't be in a space where I would be starting from ground zero or starting from the beginning once they gave us permission to get back out and really train again. So what type of vision do you have for yourself? Not only for yourself, but for those around you. And vision is about being able to see more. It's about being able to connect with those who have a similar outlook. Knowing that we can't do it alone, and we don't have to do it alone. And if it's something that if it's a true, authentic, real vision, it's going to be something that transforms minds. It's going to transform and really change thinking and change culture. And if it's really that important, no matter the circumstances, no matter the challenges, you'll figure out a way to get beyond that. Now, I've talked about my mom, I've talked about Coach Whitmer and my guide, but I want to show this last video, which just sums up everything. It's a spot that was narrated by my mom that I would love to share with you, Ramel, if we can share that. And also if we could get if there could be some sound with that one also too, that would be amazing.
Can you hear that?
The hardest thing I ever had to tell my son was that he would never see again. As hard as it was, I did not want to shelter him. So I fought to keep him in public school. I encouraged him to play sports. You name it, I gave him the opportunity.
The first time I saw Alexis jump, because he ran off of the lane.
I had to instill in him that all things are possible. I told him, Alexis, it does not matter what anyone says. You decide what you can do and no one else. I am in awe. I literally believe he can fly.
P&G, proud sponsor of Moms.
So in closing, everyone, I want to continue to encourage you to be those inquisitive problem solvers, being able to go beyond the normal routine, being able to be curious, to continue to be inquisitive, to go beyond the routine and what we're so used to doing, because beyond that is something more. Being a guide for someone else, helping them to see what's truly possible and helping them to get beyond whatever it is they may be facing in life. And always focusing on the vision and being able to see more than what is in front of your eyes. Because there's something that's bigger than all of us. There's that noble cause, if you will. Something that deserves our energy and our attention. Not only for the results that it might produce for us as individuals, but the results that it'll produce for those around us and for those who will come after us. Sometimes it is tough, but we can get through all of those things. So I want to end with this little doohickey, this little tune. Sends you away this Friday morning, this great Memorial Day weekend. And yeah. I see the road, Mercedes drive. I see my plane, now I'm gonna fly. I see the stars, grab with both hands, and I'ma hold it high to brighten where you glance. I run the trail through storm and hail. They wanna break me, I'm tough as nails. I am a reason, I am a sail to lift you up when you think you're gonna fail. But when we think of the memories of pain, all of this derails our train. Anytime the obstacle rises high, just face it. An elevator to the sky. Close your eyes and vision, and everything you wish will come. If you want to see for yourself, look inside your mind. That's where the luxury lies. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want to see for yourself, look inside your mind, and you will be able to stand the test of time. The test of time. Thank you, everyone.